This is the launch of the third chapter of FoHS. The first being Pandyas, the second Thenpandyas, and now the Pallavas. This day has been long awaited, and like each of our earlier chapters, it has come together organically. And this is what is so special, because each and every one of you who will be joining and becoming a part of the FoHS fold already feel like you've always been here. Our objectives, vision and mission is very clear, and this vibrant, strong team with their enthusiasm can only make it better in carrying our goals further.
To inaugurate the third chapter of FoHS, it's been an amazing journey, and we're really happy to celebrate it with all of you here today. And so FoHS is basically a social space for heritage enthusiasts, focusing on Tamil Nadu's rich and ancient history in a very data-driven and scientific manner. So we have a lot of interest today in history and archaeology and art traditions and culture. But there's a lot of hearsay, there's a lot of questionable argument, theories going around and all of that. So we wanted to be able to be the go-to place for, data-driven and absolutely scientific, approach-based history and archaeology. So in that way, we've been very happy. I mean, we've been very privileged to have great scholars amidst us, supporting us in a big way, like Dr. Vedachalam, Professor Selvakumar, Mr. Gandhirajan, without whose support this would have just not been possible. So we want to thank them and appreciate them here. And so essentially, I think most of you already know what we're all up to. So the key objectives, like I mentioned, was to create awareness and essentially target the youth of Tamil Nadu and globally, the Tamil youth globally, to reconnect with their roots and bring alive our legacy. So through a variety of interesting and fun programs, events, we do a lot of creative workshops for reviving Pallava art and Pandya region art forms under the leadership of Mr. Gandhirajan. We have the Chitrakoodal and Vichitrachita projects. Then we have a series of workshops on ethno-archaeology, on various aspects of little touched upon subjects in Tamil history and archaeology. And to top it all, now this year we are also tying up with Google Arts and Culture, and so that's another very big milestone for us. So this way we'll be able to take it to the global platform and make our monuments and history and heritage more visible to the world. And so we are looking forward to working with you all in bringing alive our legacy, and I'm sure the journey is going to be a very satisfying and fulfilling one. Thank you.
Every organization has to have a leader. We trust leadership is a quality, nay, a character that distinguishes the ordinary person from the rest of the crowd. A leader is one who works with a vision to carry out the mission of the organization. In that role, our president has played a vital role over the past 9 years. And now to coordinate the work at the chapter level, this being the third chapter of FoHS, we trust there has to be a convener who ably reflects the visionary qualities that envisages carrying out the mission of the organization along with the president. In this process, we have a formal ceremony whereby the convener of the chapter, FoHS Pallavas, is appointed in a simple investiture of office ceremony. This entails a presentation of a ceremonial collar. We now request the Vice President of FoHS, Thiru Arun Amarnath, to lead us in this investiture of the convener of the FoHS Pallavas.
Dr. Prabhakar is graciously accepted to be the convener. We'll adorn the collar to make him the official convener. And the convener will be ably assisted by the co-convener, and Ramana Kumar has been appointed as co-convener.
In addition to the induction, we believe that every person joining the organization in whatever capacity has to give a certain commitment to the cause here. Towards this, we at FoHS have formulated a pledge that we trust inspires every one of you to be a member and work for the cause with a commitment. And to lead us with this pledge, I request the Vice President of FoHS, Thiru Arun Amarnath, to guide all the new members joining us today on this auspicious day at this ceremony. Thiru Arun Amarnath.
I will do my best to create a social space for conservation of ecology, heritage monuments, natural heritage sites, and the cultural richness of the country. I concur with the vision of FoHS and agree to keep intact our tangible and intangible heritage and play a role in bringing alive our legacy.
So basically, I've been asked to give our plan for the next 2 years. When we speak of the Pallavas, the first thing that comes to mind, of course, the two things that come to mind are Mamallapuram and Kanchipuram. And those are very major sites of archaeological wonders created by the Pallavas. But before we explore them, I thought that it would be good to first understand the basics of South Indian temple architecture. So our first program will be that in June we will have a simple lecture on temple architecture, South Indian temple architecture, by a resource person, and follow that up with a visit to one or two temples in Chennai just to illustrate it, so that we understand the technical aspects, the technical terms, the iconographic details, all of the simple things that we can then, when people take us to different temples and they show us features, we will know what they're talking about. So that will be the first thing in order. The second thing that we plan to do is an expansion of what we're doing today. Sometime in July or August, we want to do a very systematic, we have a series of lectures, do a seminar, a series of lectures on the Pallavas, their history, who these individual rulers were, what was their character, what were their achievements, what were their contributions. We will start with our first trip, which is the trip to Mamallapuram. We've all been to Mamallapuram, but I think a very systematic exploration and a very technical exploration of all of the monuments there will be very exciting. Why Mamallapuram? Because when we speak of South Indian architecture, temple architecture in stone, it all began there. Following that, in December, we will do what will be the highlight of the year, which is our trip to Kanchipuram. It will be a 4 to 5 day trip because the number of temples that we have to see there is just enormous. I mean, Kanchipuram, of course, has hundreds of temples, but the important ones, we will probably need to cover at least 25, if not more, the Shaivite temples, the Vaishnavite temples, the Jain temples, the ones that are of historic importance, and the ones perhaps of spiritual importance. And we will intersperse each day with lectures and technical details, and we will also have a lot of fun and games. In February, we plan to do, it's up to the members whether we do this as a car rally or whether we do this more as a trip. But we thought that it might be very important to look at the Mahendra Pallavas rock cut temples all over Thenpandyas. They're widely dispersed, and in fact apparently they go as far as Trichy. The rock temple in Trichy, by the side you have a rock cut temple by Mahendra, so they say. So we will do a systematic, whether we do that as a car rally or whether we do that as this thing, we will be planning that. Having spoken about the Pallavas, I'd like to make a distinction here between the region and the dynasty. The FoHS divides Tamil Nadu into about 4 or 5 regions. The northern region, Thenpandyas, being called the Pallava region, and it's just as we have the Thenpandyas or the Pandya or the Chera or the Chora regions. But these are names that are given as a matter of convenience. This particular region, northern Tamil Nadu, has a heritage that is far older, far vaster, and far younger than a single dynasty of kings, the Pallavas. So there is so much more than what the Pallavas left behind. So we really need to do an exploration of other aspects of our heritage in this northern region. As today's lectures will show, we are going to look at we are going to have a lecture on the Jaina sites, all of the Jain sites in Thenpandyas, and perhaps we need to consider a tour of the Jain sites. We are going to look at, at folk deities, Ayyanar, hero stones, inscriptions. We're going to look at, maybe even prehistory in terms of menhirs and dolmen and things like that. And perhaps that needs a detailed exploration. Perhaps we need to consider a tour that includes those. This region also has a number of wonderful forts. The fort at Senji, the fort at Vellore. Vellore, for example, is the fort that is unusual because it has all three. It has a functioning temple, the Jalakandiswara temple, the functioning church, the St. John's Church, and a mosque, all of them being worshipped inside the fort. So it's a wonderful example of what Tamil Nadu is, very multicultural and diverse part of the country. And so the forts may need a separate exploration. Finally, we call ourselves Friends of Heritage Sites, and we use the word site. But a site is not just a physical place or a physical dimension, as, for example, the use of the word website. A website is a space or a place which is a part of the human imagination, part of the human creative imagination. And we have 2 spaces of human imagination that we need to look at, not just a space, but perhaps countries. One is music and the other is dance, and Chennai is extremely rich in both. And so we will be having a series of lectures or even lecture demonstrations that explore music and dance, both classical forms and perhaps folk forms of it. So these are all some of the activities we're planning over the next 2 years, but as I say, the details and the decisions will belong to the members. I just want to close with a secret. Sharmila is going to kill me for this, but I have to say it. One day Sharmila said to me, this FoHS Pallavas, you guys, you are so enthusiastic and so distinguished. You're a little scary, she said. So I invite you on this adventure. Let us scare the living daylights out of poor Sharmila, and let us have a wonderful time. Thank you.
As usual, I find it very nice to give my gratitude to all of you present here. And Prabhakar, we want you to scare us more. I will be very happy to scare with the living legends and doing everything here. And everyone who has come. And with this simple note, I'll say thank you so much from my heart. And let's close the event. Thank you so much.